Yeah, that's annoying, that, isn't it?
Yeah. Really is as well. If I press start streaming there, we should be back, I reckon. Apologies about that one. We are back live now, but apologies about what happened there. I'm not sure what happened myself, to be honest, but the stream is back as far as I'm aware. We are live on the channel and are going now. Hopefully that's come up. Just make sure that is.
I'm not seeing it on my screen just yet.
It's coming up saying test on mine. So I'm going to have to copy that format. Just make sure that is. Yeah, we are live. It is down as test. We are live. Hope you guys are well and can hear us. Apologies about that one then. Not sure what happened there. Virgin just having a bit of a blip at one stage, and I tell you what, it's not what I wanted here. It's really starting to annoy me now, is Virgin. But oh well, we're back. Let's see then what we can do with this one at the moment then. So currently we have Gary leading from the Only G, who's just got back in front of Big Boy Brazier. If you missed what happened, he actually span coming through this section here, lost the rear of the car and had to rejoin as Big Boy Brazier was coming past him. So not the start he would have wanted, but he's back up into P2 now ahead of Big Boy Brazier, and looks as if it looks to make ends meet and try and get up to Gary once again in this one.
Yes, why we were just unreliable like a Honda, Big Boy Brazier and Gary were going door handle to door handle and swapping places. G's back in front of Big Boy Brazier now, but he was in front. Big Boy Brazier was giving him a bit of a hard time for a while. What else is going on? Dan is down in 8th position and chasing Sutty. And he's been chasing him now for a lap or so, trying to find a way past. Who else we got? Phil's making his way up through the orders just behind Keegs. As you can see, they're in close company at the moment.
Yeah, I mentioned them two Lamborghinis of Sutty and Phil early doors being towards the back, and they've slowly snuck up the order a little bit.
They certainly have, with other people's trouble. Is that Keegs putting a move on? No, he's not quite close enough that time. Has a look down the inside, but can't make it stick. So Phil's still in front of Sutty. Or were the other? No, yeah, that's right. Yeah, that's okay. I'm getting confused. Who I'm looking at now? Where we got? Dan's there. There's.
Oh, what's
Phil,
happened to Sutty? Sutty was ahead of Unorthodox, and now he's behind Unorthodox and Emo Guy, and now AH. Yeah. Oh, AH just into the gravel. A bit of lag there for AH with the looks of it. But what has happened to Sutty Apex there then? Doesn't look to have damage on his car, so I wonder if he's lost it on his own, or have him and Dan just had a coming together, although Dan's kept going, so I'm not quite sure what has happened. Lap 5 of this race of 16 then, and we already lost Welshie and D Biggs. Wouldn't let them back in the lobby for some strange reason. Hopefully we can get them in for race 2. That is unless Welshie did drop his pad. I know he's on the wheel, but you never know with Welshie, and I know he's in the comments now because I can see he's just commented, so we'll see what his response to that is. But Big Boy Brazier has really fell back from G already after G's only passed him a lap and a half ago. Big Boy Brazier's well in front. G's well in front, sorry.
He certainly has. G's doing one of his recovery things now. I think he's gapped Big Boy Brazier, and he's back after Gary. As we go back to them, he's just in a couple of seconds now at Gary, so he's got to pull that back. But plenty of laps left for G to do this. Still the top 3, still covered by just over 3 seconds.
Oh, Gary's had a spin! Oh, Gary spun!
Gary's lost it. He's lost it. We didn't see. Go on to Gary. Here we go. There we go. He's recovered it. Put it back on the track. But that's cost him. The mistake. The back end went out and he went round.
I just saw as he was on with G, I just saw Gary sort of slide off to the left and the inside of the line.
Yep.
Must have just got the power down too early on the exit to the corner. But he had a 2-second lead over G, and he's just thrown that one away. That is unbelievable. He's got to now make it up on the circuit and over the pit stops. Of course, now 4.8 seconds back is his gap. What has happened there? Gary looked like he was doing so well, and he's just been the pro champion. But obviously, didn't win that many races last season, in all fairness. Mazda and Sutty took the most, the major victories. Gary just plodded along and was very consistent, and that's what won him the championship at the end of the day. There's Phil on the back of Keegs for P5. Phil, is he going to have a look into turn 1? He's going to use the sooty send-it manoeuvre that his teammate's famous for. No, thinks better of it. Bit more of a sooty safety, that one, Phil. What your teammate was known for last year, because normally Sooty will lunge one up the inside from a mile back and make it stick somehow. But last year he was very much cautious.
I've heard about these sooty send-its.
It's from a mile back when no one expects it. And he somehow makes it stop and get onto the apex of the corner, and it looks absolutely brilliant. But last year we didn't really see many of them. Yeah,
well, I look forward to, hopefully we will see some this year.
If that was F1 though, he'd have chopped your front wing off if that was the case. Sooty Apex down in P10 as we speak of him at the moment, but his teammate Phil is right on the back of Keegs. You can see here, just on board with Phil now, in towards the hairpin. Keegs in the Lamborghini this season. I'll tell you what, it's a good start for the Iron Brew Racing A lads, because they are running 2nd and 5th at the moment, so constructors' points looking quite handy for them too so far in this one.
Absolutely.
Good race pace from the leaders.
It's fun watching like this. I had a bit of a phantom brake pedal moment just there myself when we came close round the hairpin. I found myself trying to brake, as we got closer and closer to the back end of that car. Dear oh dear.
Brilliant. Phil then really trying to hunt Keegs down. I know Keegs has struggled in testing with this Lamborghini, just couldn't seem to get it to work. Obviously this year at Simplay Motorsport we're running in the current season, so we're in the winter. Live weather doesn't help. The drivers have really got to keep an eye on the forecast if they're to know what is to come, as well as the winter conditions. Obviously track temperature and normal temperature are going to be a lot lower than what they was used to last year. So they've really got to make sure them tyres have got a lot of heat, enough heat in them to keep going at the moment. Gary's pace matching that of Big Boy Brazy, but losing out to G at the moment. As Unorthodox is going to come into the pits at the end of lap 6. The first guy into the pits then, and I will mark that one down in my notes. First guy in, lap 6 for him.
Oh, you're taking notes, are you?
I take notes on the pit stops just to make sure I know who's pitted and who's pitted when, just for that. Just for my peace of mind more than anything. Peaceful Explosion has followed him in lap 12. Peaceful Explosion, funny story about him actually, won the first race of the last season and looked really good. This year, thought his PS4 was slightly broken. When he was on the wheel or the pad, his brake would slightly be on, and he couldn't figure it out. I got a text message off him this morning. He's checked everything. He's deleted the game, reinstalled the game last night. Sorry. Turns out he must have caught one of his settings and had a brake assist on.
Wow.
So yeah,
there you go. Also complicated. You'll see the Project Zoo. That's a completely different thing. That is Project Cars. Nothing rude if anybody wants what Project Zoo is. They're a tuning company, but. Project Cars pit crew there doing their damnedest to look like a council crew and doing really nothing. But they have got some funky outfits. They look like they're out of Star Trek or something tonight.
Absolutely, pretty much see-through. They've just got a helmet, pair of gloves, and a pair of boots.
Yeah. Other than that, you can see right through them.
Indeed you can. Peaceful Explosion. Dan commented during his pit stop he had damage, so that clarifies on what we kind of knew early on when he clouted the wall and got a bit of damage there. Peaceful and Deeks in the pits as well, so Dan has pitted. Fury couldn't pit that lap as Dan was in the pits, so Fury's had to go a bit longer at the moment. That was Andy down in P12, and this is Keegs making an early stop, clearly getting the call over his teammate Big Boy Brazier, who's lost even more time out to G at the moment. But Keegs diving into the pits at the end of lap 7 here then. So Phil has been released. I'm surprised Phil didn't follow him in there. Phil obviously feels that the overcut could work at the moment, and he'll have to try and get that one done on the circuit. Yeah,
we'll certainly see if that does in the next couple of laps. I'm taking Iron Brew Racing that these guys are Scottish.
Keegs is Scottish. Was teammates with Mazda last year, and it was just the name that they came up with. Mazda likes Iron Brew. Keegs is Scottish. It seemed to fit. And then it stuck. They was meant to run the Launch Racing name this season, but unfortunately Launch Racing wouldn't let them use the name anymore. Mazda and myself obviously parted ways from the team earlier this season, from the Launch Racing team this season, so we wasn't able to they wasn't allowing us to use the name in this season, so that's why they've gone back to their old name of Iron Brew Racing, and they're running 3 teams. Mazda, because he had to drop to Pro-Ams, kept in the same team, but just the C car. Liam and Rabbit Joe's kind of their youth drivers are in the B team and Keegs and Jamie Brazier are in the A team.
Right, I'm glad you cleared that up because I was confused.
If you're not, you are now.
I wasn't. I am now, yeah, I wasn't. I didn't know anything about it. Now I do. And now I'm confused.
Yeah. Forever Forward Racing are also running 2 teams this year. They're running the same name, no A and B, but they're running G and Peaceful in this one, and then Monkey Boy and Kieran Argent in the Pro-Am. Right. Same liveries as well, same car, same liveries. Whereas the Iron Brew boys, 2 are in a McLaren, 2 are in a Porsche, and 2 are in a Lamborghini. So, all good fun, all brilliant stuff. Fury pits at the end of lap 8.
Fury and Dan are having the same. Are going to be onto Ferrari for some panels because they seem to be smashing them up. Because Fury's smashed front ended up of that 488. But yeah, it'll be a busy day at the Ferrari parts department.
We said earlier, didn't we, about I wouldn't want to be the man who's paying the bill for that one. Well, Ferrari are forking out a lot of money as we see G lose the rear. Once again, G has lost the rear of this car. There is Jamie Brazier. Can G get going before Jamie comes around? Yes, he can, but it's only that's twice in this race we've seen G lose the rear of the Mercedes-Benz. Yes,
indeed. What was he doing and what happened there? I don't think I've driven this Merc, to be honest, or not for any period of time. I think I jumped in it, didn't like it very much, and jumped straight back in the Ferrari.
Straight back out, yeah.
Yeah, so I don't know what's happening there. Big Boy Brazier's got his lights on now. Not that that's going to phase G in the slightest, but a sniff for that first place again for Big Boy Brazier.
Well, this is the thing. 2 mistakes there for G in this one. Only 9 laps in, still just over half the race to go now. He doesn't want to make a few more of them while he's got pit stops. And Gary's only 3.7 behind, and Brazier's right on his tail at the moment.
Yes, let me. There we go. That's
there is
it.
Big Boy Brazier.
That's the one. That's
the Mercedes looks very planted at the moment, but I can't see where G's lost the rear of the car twice. Must just be pushing that little bit too hard, coming around some parts of the track.
Indeed. I'm sure we'll get some feedback from G because he's usually pretty good, one way or another, at giving us some feedback. So no doubt we'll find out what happens a bit later on, but it's put him under pressure a little bit. As Jamie Brazier is, as you can see, is staring at the back of the Merc.
Oh, Gary's gone into the
Gary's
pits.
Pitted. Yep.
So that's the end of lap 9 then. Gary in the pits, pulling the trigger early, maybe over these 2. Now G needs some good laps here to keep it. Oh, that had a bit of a twitch there down into turn 1, didn't it?
Missed the apex by country mile.
Yeah. So G's had 2 spins at this section as well. One here and then one a bit further down the track has G.
Yeah.
Very tighter to the apex of the corner this time around, and again over the apex there. Jamie using all the runoff.
Going out that wide?
You do, but the Pro-Am boys don't run with slowdowns. It's down to the drivers themselves to obviously, because some of the slowdowns on project cars can be quite harsh. At certain tracks. So for the pro boys, they're off, and it's down to them guys to get a slowdown or to, But like you see in the racing half the time, that probably is a normal line for a GT3 car through there, just over the white line. It's probably the normal line for them, especially F1. So unless if it's not taking the mick, we don't mind here.
Well, this is it, and you're quite right. The project car slowdown is annoying. When a touring car on Sunday night at the Algar was the first corner Algar is horrendous. Even the Formula Ones in real life had so much trouble with that first corner and keeping it on the track. Some of the slowdowns on project cars are absolutely crazy. And as you say, that's probably a normal line. Anybody who ever watches DTM at Hockenheim, my word, they hardly even use the track. Turn one at Hockenheim, like the first little right-hand nip, all the DTM boys are off the track.
Yeah.
They're well off it.
G's coming into the pits, lap 10. What has happened to Gary here? Because Gary's still in the pits.
Yes, you're right, he is. I don't know what.
That's him just pulling away now that we can see on board G, down the pit lane. What has happened to Gary there? Has he clouted a wall somewhere and got big damage that he's had to repair? Because that has taken him a lifetime to get out of that one. He's lost so many places in this pit.
They must have rebuilt the engine on that one.
Oh dear, engine on 50, damage taking ages. That's what's happened to his mechanical failures. Look at G's pit stop, in and out. They didn't even lift the lollipop on that car. He's done. G's done his pit stop. He's in and out as quick as you like. Jamie Brazier's pit boys need to make sure that they're on fire in this one so far, because that is a pit stop that they've got to beat. And that is not going to be easy, let me tell you that one.
No, not at all. That was quick. Yeah, Gary's pit crew must have opened the front of the car and realised that the engine was missing. And then took them 3 minutes to find out that the engine's in the rear on that. So
that's crazy. Yeah. That is.
Yeah, it took them forever, didn't it?
It just, yeah, they just seem to, you know, he was never enough a lap down. In fact, I think he is a lap down over Big Boy Brazier, which is really quite shocking. He's got work to do now from here then, if he's to make any grounds up in this race. He was running, don't forget, first at one stage, was winning this race until he lost it. Now he's got 50 on the mechanical, which has been a factor of the Project Cars Simplay GT3 season since last year. They've had them on from last year. So Gary really struggling in this one at the moment. And I can't believe it, to be fair. What a poor pit stop, and what a way to ruin his first race of the season, if anything. Big Boy Brazier, when does he react to G's pits?
Well, this is the good question, isn't it? Is he going to pull the trigger this lap, or is he going to go a bit longer? We've only got 5 laps left of this race. I'm just interested to stay on board with him, see if he peels off into the pits.
No, he's going to stay out.
No, he doesn't. He doesn't. So let's stay on board for a minute, shall we? And I'll give you a lap of Nuremberg for the best of my ability. Down the first straight, it's flat scat, right foot hard on the boards. Drops downhill slightly, or quite a lot. Hit the brakes as late as you dare. 50-metre board would be nice. Try and hit that apex. If you miss that apex, you're out hugely wide. Renowned as a bit of the Mickey Mouse part of the circuit. This one was added a few years back. It's a left and a left. This one you want to tuck right into the apex, so you get good drive out of this one, and try and stay within track limits as best you can. Get your power down, hard on the power again as you drop downhill. It's going to have a left-hander which you brake hard, tuck it into the apex, try not to let it run wide. This is a tricky corner even for the Formula 1 guys, to tuck that apex in and get the right line through that one. So as you come down the hill now, probably the lowest part of the circuit, the hairpin, again, apex, so yeah, somewhere over there on the right is the apex of that corner, because Jamie missed that one, but no real harm done on that hairpin. This is flat scat through here. Touch the curb on the left, run the curb on the right, try to stay well inside the limits as you exit that chicane. Another tricky little corner, brake late, tuck into the apex, try not to let it go wide and out and off the track. Come across the left hand side, come back into the apex on the right, nail it now. Try and get as much traction as you possibly can. This corner here, flat scat, don't even know it's there. It's just like part of a straight.
I tell you do when it's raining and there's a puddle on the curb.
Yeah, you probably do. Bring across the right hand side, brake as late as you dare, 75 metres, something like that. Run the curbs left and right, out wide again, and as I said on this one, hurry up and wait. You have to brake. Pull the apex, just wait. Nail it now. Get the best traction you can to go across the start finish straight again.
Brilliant, thanks for that, Kelly. Great lap through the Nurburing GP from you there. And on board Jamie Brazier, bar a few apexes missing over there. He's not done too bad. 16-second lead he's got over Little Each at the moment. G is down in P4, 26 seconds behind. Little Each has now jumped into the pits, and let's hope the Porsche mechanics have a better time around at fixing getting Little Each in and out than what they did over Gary. Phil has stayed out. The only other man to not pit is Phil and Jamie Brazier at the moment. They're the only two we're waiting for them to come in, so we'll see on when they decide to pull the trigger. But so far so good, if you're the only G at the moment, because he seems to be in a world of his own.
That was a quick pit stop by Little Leach, that one. They didn't mess around at all on that one.
No, obviously no repairs for him to do. Andy's back up into P4. Has Andy pitted, actually? I'm just looking. Oh no, Andy's yet to pit as well, actually. So Andy hasn't pitted neither.
No, and he just took a very interesting line on the first corner. That was very interesting. Got the wheel up on the curb and lost the back end. Took a bit of grass with him as well. Not ideal for where he wanted to be, but he did live to fight another day.
Indeed, he does. Gary down in P11 after his poor pit stop early on in this race. So obviously work to do for him. He may get to qualify for race 2 at the moment, because obviously 14 guys on the grid. The top 7 cannot qualify for race 2. It would have been the top 8, but with there only being 14 finishers, even though there should be 16 guys in the next race, top 7 cannot qualify then. So at the minute you're looking at Big Boy Brazier, Phil, G, Andy, Little Leach and Unorthodox and Emo Guy are the guys who can't qualify for race 2. But we'll have to wait and see what happens. Gary may find himself a race 2 winner in this one. P1 and get away, if he can qualify on pole and get away, that is. He could find himself in a good position, but still a few laps to go here yet, and still time for people to make mistakes or Gary to start to close him in. But he's 24 seconds off the back of Sooty Apex. That's going to be a bit hard as Peaceful Explosion is trying to pressure the back of Gary as well. It's going to be hard for Gary to close in on them guys at the front of this pack.
Yes, indeed. I was just thinking about the whole top 7 can't qualify, and what was if the tactics were worth having there. Is it worth, like Emo Guy, is it worth him dropping out of that 7th position to have a crack at qualifying? Just something I was thinking over. I don't know if it is a better strategy or not.
I mean, I suppose that depends on him, doesn't it? Early stage of the season, is it really going to matter as Phil and Andy pit? Jamie Brazier still yet to pit at the moment, so we are waiting the race leader in. 24 seconds G's behind, so Jamie needs to keep that pace going at the moment, keep that gap as to what it is, and get a pit stop like G had, and be on his merry way.
Do we know what the deficit is for a pit stop?
I suppose it depends on the pit stop. You see G's was in and out. It could be something where you've got to repair damage like Gary's and it take you a lap. It could be the margins like that could be that fine that it could be. I reckon he's going to be out around G, in front or behind. I'm not sure. He's actually gained a bit of time over G. Oh, there's a Ferrari in the background there. Who's that behind Emo Guy? That's a back markers. That was Fury who actually lost the car. Yeah, Fury had a bit of a spin coming out the final corner there then. Andy is away. There in the background you see the Lamborghini, not quite sure who that was.
That's Emo Guy behind Andy. On track. So who we left to pit? Just Jamie Brazier,
just the race leader at the moment left to pit. He's keeping his gap at about 24 seconds. He's in now. So the end of lap 14, he had to pit by the end of the next lap. If he didn't pit this time, but he's pitted lap 14, so this is the one to watch. How good is his pit stop going to be compared to how quick G can get around the circuit? He's only just sort of coming into it's a long old pit lane, a long old pit entry. You sort of put your pit limiter on mid-corner at the final corner, gotta be gone. He's not. Jamie here.
Not quick.
No, it's a longer pit stop. He's away now, but G is just exiting the final corner. This could be close down into turn 1.
I don't think it's going to be. I think G's going to be comfortable.
No, he's passed him now. And Jamie's not even out the pits yet. He's just released the pit limiter. G's done him by a country mile.
Yes, but Big Boy is in a
who's that
comfortable
off?
second.
That's Peaceful. Peaceful Explosion round on the exit to turn 1.
Oh, no.
He looks like he's well clear of Deeks down in P13. Although Deeks is actually, that time's coming down, I can see between them. 1:52, Peaceful's behind the leader. Deeks is 2 minutes. The gap is 8 seconds with 2 laps to go, even though they're a lap down. You've got to get to lap 12 to complete all race distance. All the drivers are on lap 14 minimum. The leaders the guys on the lead lap, obviously lap 15.
And I mean, look at the gap that they've got now. You know, Big Boy Brazier's going to be. He's a comfortable second place.
He definitely is now. He really is now. Oh, where's Phil? Phil's coming. Phil's on the podium at the moment. Little Each has had a spin, and is that Unorthodox who's just passed Little Each? Yes, it is indeed. So Little Each drops it at coming out the 4th corner. And that is Little Each down to P5, Phil up into 3rd, and Unorthodox up into P4. Little Each not off the back of them two, though. He's still got time to reel them in and get back past them. But
he's going to have to do a lot of work in a short time.
He really is. We've seen this Porsche Mercedes today, though, look a bit loose on the rear at times.
Absolutely, yeah. And, it's a bit of a Porsche trait, isn't it? Never turn your back on a 911, isn't it?
No, 100%. We've seen G lose a couple as well. The Mercedes and the Porsche very loose on the rear. And like you say, pretty much what the Porsche is best for. Can Little Each get on the back of Unorthodox? The gap's 2.5 seconds. He's got the rest of this lap and one more to go after this.
I think it's a tall ask, to be fair, Matt.
Well, the Constructors' Champions, not having the opening round they'd have wanted here, was running on both on the podium at one stage, and they're both now 5th and P11. And I can't see Gary gaining about 15 seconds to gain on Sooty Apex. I can't see Little Each getting 2.6 to gain on Unorthodox. Unorthodox 1.6 behind Phil. I can't really see that happening as we enter the final lap. Excuse me, G, well out in front, 6.5 seconds at the moment. I can't see him being beaten in this one, but bit of a race on for third here at the moment. There's still a 2-minute lap to go, so plenty of time for a couple of seconds to be lost here or there.
And anything can happen, as we've seen. It's incredibly easy to lose the back end of these cars, so anything can happen. To the best as well. You know, G's lost it a couple of times. I think all the quick guys have pushed the limits and managed to make a couple of mistakes here this evening. Yeah,
they really have, and it's not been a night where the guys, I'm sure the guys, especially like Gary, Little Each and G, will be sort of thrilled about. Obviously going into the 3 o'clock race, bit cooler in the track temps.
Yeah.
If they've lost it in this race already, obviously winter's paying. Seeing that we've lost a few of the rear ends, we saw this last night as well, a few rear ends going round just because of the cooler track temperatures and the guys not getting the heat in the tyres they needed, especially early doors. But this late in the race, you'd have thought the tyres would have been working fine. But this man comes down the back straight and he's heading towards the chicane for the final time at the moment so far. And the only G has been, I can't say fantastic because he's made 2 mistakes. One could have cost him the race at one stage before Gary binned it, but he's been in a different class in the second half of the race. He's not put a foot wrong, and on a debut race for him where he can score points, the only G is going to cross the line and take P1 in this first race in his Mercedes-Benz. So a good start for Forever Forward Racing as well. G takes the win. Big Boy Brazier, the Pro-Am champion, is going to cross the line in P2. So good job for him. And Phil at one stage was running by the back of the grid. Looks like he's set for a third on where's Little Each gone? He's well dropped off the bat now as Little Each. Phil trying to hang on in there against Unorthodox. Gap's only 0.6 of a second, but
it is, but they're out of corners.
It's pretty much done, isn't it?
It is.
So here comes Phil then round the final corner. He's going to take a P3. Unorthodox will kick his season off with a 4th place. I said watch out for him for podiums in that Ferrari, but a P4 nonetheless. Little Each, for the defending Constructors' Champions, will have to settle for 5th place in this one. Andy on debut will come away with a P6, and not a bad race for him, a flash of the lights for him. Nice. Emo Guy, his teammate, will get 7th, so good points for the Class of 97 team. That'll be what they wanted. Keegs didn't like the Lamborghini, but he's got a top 8 here. It's not a bad start to his campaign. You can't really argue with that one. Yeah, it is. He's going to cross the line at P8. And then we await for AH, who's a further 9 seconds back, but looks dead set for 9th place. What's happened to Sooty? Sooty Apex must have had a problem somewhere because Gary's got past him and he's 5 seconds up the road. So what has happened to Sooty on this last lap? Because Gary's got past. AH finishes 9th. Gary is going to get a top 10 here.
Could have had a Sooty spin it.
A Sooty spin it, that is more than likely if he's on the wheel, especially because they know he's a pad man. But
that's crazy. I haven't driven a pad for years now.
Gary comes across the line 10th. What could have been fair? Oh, he's got bad damage on that car. No rear spoiler in the front bumper dangling all over. He's hit a wall somewhere. So Sooty Apex P11. Didn't quite see who was P12. Let's just scroll down and have a look. Deeks gets 12th at the end of that one. So the Acura getting a P12 in that, with Peaceful Explosion coming 13th place. Not the start you'd have wanted. Fury taking 14th, and obviously D-Biggs and Welshie did not start that one, unfortunately for them. So we're going to take just a quick break and we'll be back in the second half with the top, I suppose the top 9 of qualifying, as the top 7 cannot qualify for this. So don't go anywhere. We'll be right back after the break.
just realized I've built walls a mile high to protect my heart, but now I'm all alone, stuck on the inside. The heart doesn't need a castle, it needs a bridge. Been too scared that I'd unravel. Brick by brick, I built these walls. Now I know that I am strong. Just watch me tear them down. I'm gonna tear them down. If it couldn't break your heart, is it really love? If it can't tear you apart, is it really love? Just watch me march towards the battle. I'm gonna tear down this castle. I'm gonna tear down this castle. I'm gonna tear down this castle. Watch me march. If it couldn't break your heart, is it really love? If it can't tear you apart, is it really love? If it couldn't break your heart, is it really love? If it can't tear you apart, is it really love? I criticized myself for trusting lies. I know I can't hide, 'cause then I'd be alone, stuck on the inside. The heart doesn't need a castle, it needs a bridge. Been too scared that I'd unravel. Brick by brick, I built these walls. Now I know that I'm enough. Just watch me tear them down. I'm gonna tear them down. If it couldn't break your heart, is it really love? If it can't tear you apart, is it really love? Just watch me march towards the battle. I'm gonna tear down this castle. I'm gonna tear down this castle. I'm gonna tear down this castle. Watch me march. If it couldn't break your heart, is it really love? If it can't tear you apart, is it really love? If it couldn't break your heart, is it really love? If it can't tear you apart, is it really love?
Play a slow song. I'ma turn it up and then I'm gonna take it down. I'ma turn it up and then I'm gonna take it down. I'ma turn it up and then I'm gonna take it down. Play a slow song. I'ma turn it up and then I'm gonna take it down. I'ma turn it up and then I'm gonna take it down. I'ma turn it up and then I'm gonna 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 turn it up and then I'ma turn it up and then I'm gonna take it down.
Right, they'll be able to hear us in a moment. Welcome back then, ladies and gentlemen, to the Simplay Motorsport Project Cars 2 GT3 League. We are live for race 2 in qualifying. 10 minutes qualifying this time around, and we have all 16 drivers on the grid. The top 7 cannot qualify for this race. So let me just run you through who cannot qualify. Would do if I press the right button on my laptop here. Good start. There it is. So the people who cannot qualify are Little Leech, Phil, The Only G, Emo Guy, Andy, Unorthodox, Big Boy Brazier cannot qualify for this one. It's normally the top 8, like we saw yesterday. Peaceful Explosions just got a 1-place grid penalty there. I see the red next to his name, so he must have a 1-place grid penalty early doors for speeding in the pits. That's what you want early on, straight away, to kick off your second race. Gary, though, this man on screen, what a terrible race one he had. Can he get it better for race 2? We'll have to see. Sooty Apex took a while to get back in the lobby. Rumour has it he's ditched the wheel already and has gone back to the pad. Will we see the pace from Sooty like we have come to know over the course of last season? Will we get that Sooty Send-It we have all longed for in this one then? So still winter conditions. Still you see the cloud is out. Bit of cloudy, bit of sun here and there. What will happen as we go into qualifying? Kelly, great first race. Highlights from it was Gary losing it, and G, even though he had 2 moments, still taking a convincing race win.
Absolutely, yeah. That was the story of the race, really. Was as I said, G, as you said, G had a couple of moments. I think a load of guys had a few moments. Yeah, you know, it's I don't know if it's the cooler conditions here in the realistic weather conditions that we're having, as we are weather conditions from today in Germany at the Nurburing. I don't know if that's caught them out a little bit or not, but we certainly saw a few guys with the back end stepped out on these GT3 cars.
Indeed, we did. Who's your tip for race 2 with the reverse grid? Hard
to look past G. He's quite some boy. Is the only G. It's hard to know. The 2 groups that these guys race in regularly, being here on Simplay and also on Motive channel as well. You know, there's a few guys here that I've started to get to know. Big Boy Brazier's quick. Gary's quick. Emo Guy's quick. The only G we know. Dan has his moments. You know, it's Andy's a quick lad. It's anybody's race, really. Do you know what I mean? There's probably a good half dozen, maybe 8, who could win this. But yeah, I think I'm going to put I've never been much of a gambler. I'm going to put the safe money on the only G.
I think you might be right there. Don't rule out Gary and Sooty, especially if Sooty's gone back on the pad. Obviously, G can't qualify, so we'll have to start 16th. Gary and Sooty, though, could be at the front of the grid. And if dramas happen and G gets caught up coming through the pack, we'll have to see what happens. We know he's a master at coming through the pack, though. If you do watch the Only G race on Motive Racing, if you haven't, go and check them guys out on Motive Racing on a Friday, Saturday, Sunday, Monday and Tuesday night. Run across F1, Assetto Corsa and Project Cars. Give them a like and subscribe if you haven't already. 19 people watching, guys. Let's get this video to as many likes as there is viewers on this one. Subscribe if you haven't subscribed already. Leave that thumbs up and get your comments in for who you think's going to get pole and who you think's going to win. Ariel, aka Don Productions from last night, has already got his prediction in. Gary for pole, he says, which you can't really rule out. Was third in race 1. Has the pace. He just needs to make sure he loads the right setup for the race here. D Biggs in the session. We've not seen him yet. Gary gone 1.6 quicker than him, as is Welchie. He's also in the session, so it'll be interesting to see what they can do. Sooty Apex, we'll know if he's on the pad, because he'll be a lot, believe it or not, a lot smoother, if you ask me. But we'll see what he can do at the moment then.
Yeah, a little bit of twitch under braking. He's braking for the chicane. I don't know if that's going to be characteristic. I don't know if we can tell by watching the pad, obviously. Oh, look, and a bit of drifting around the last corner. Managed to keep it off the barrier there. Didn't scuff up the paintwork, I don't think. So goes second on a 1:58.3. Yeah,
it's not a bad time.
It's a second off the top, so he's got some stuff to find.
He has
only
indeed.
Only a 10-minute session, this one, and we're well through, halfway through it.
Yeah, this is the interesting thing with qualifying too, is you've really got to get out there early to get a good lap in. We see Welshie just pop one into P5. You've really got to get a good lap in early doors here, especially on these longer circuits, near enough a 2-minute a lap track. You don't really have the time with your 2-minute out lap to be wasting sat in the garage. We see a few people still not set times yet. Keegs has just done one, gone into P5. Fury's in on the track at the moment, and then we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 all sat in the pits. AH has gone 6th currently at the moment. Gary sat in the pits. This is what I'm saying. Gary's in the pits at the moment, and he's had a lap that he's wasted by being in there so far. We'll have to wait and see. For the guys who was watching during the break, big shout out to our sponsor, Castle Hill Cars. I believe I've said that one right. Anyway, I'll double check. I only got the video through. I've got to reload the image now because it only got sent through late last night during the pro-am, and then obviously with the snow today, been out with the boys and things during the day. It's kind of been a bit of a Castle Hill Cars. So a big shout out to our sponsor, Castle Hill Cars. Go and check out their Facebook page. Obviously the advert you saw at the middle of the screen there. Gary for pole, but could be Sutty now. He might be on the pad. We do believe he's on the pad, Beth. We'll have to wait and see. D Biggs has currently gone pole in his Porsche on the debut outing for the Porsche. For him, it was in the Audi last season, 3/10 quicker than Gary. Now that time that Gary's been sat in the pits, he's really got to get his tyres up to temperature. He's only going to get one shot at this, really.
Yes, indeed. With 3 minutes to go, and as you say, it's a 2 minute lap. So he's going to have to crack on and get round to get himself back round before the checkered flag, which he's going to do quite comfortably.
One shot at it though, Kelly. He's really got to nail it, hasn't he, for this lap?
Yes, absolutely.
Obviously not the one he's on now, the one he's about to start.
Yes. And we'll stay with Gary and we'll see what he can do. Let's.
Interesting. Fury's not done a lap here. He's gone back into the pits. I don't think he's going to get out in time to do it. He's out the pits now, so he's got to get round and get a lap in to start in that top 9. He's not going to want to start by the back of the grid. G says, "Is this winter?" It should be set to winter. It doesn't look very wintry. It looks quite summery at the moment.
Beautiful.
Yeah, it looks quite summery at the moment. So it was set to winter.
I'm feeling quite warm, to be fair, Matt. I'm going to take my jumper off in a minute. That's probably because my central heating's on. But it's looking lovely there at the moment. Could do a bit of an Alonso, get a couple of deck chairs out. Lovely jubbly.
Geez, just said the track temp is really high. It was set to the winter. It's clearly not. You can see the trees are green and the grass is beautiful. The sun is shining with a bit of cloud around. It's clearly not set to winter. It's clearly set to the summer. Again, Project Cars at its finest. Blame myself. It was set. I 100% know it was set to winter because I double checked it just before we all got the first invites to the party.
So we're having a bit of an Indian summer here in Germany just at the moment. This is Gary on his flying lap now. He's got to make this one work. He's going for that pole. He needs to find 4/10 on his rival to put it on pole. 4/10's got to go quicker than his last lap. So far, so good.
Yeah, looks nice and tidy through the first complex, didn't it?
Yeah, he was hitting all the apexes as we come downhill again. As I said before, this is a tricky one. Tucks it into the apex, runs out a little bit wide on the outside. Hard apex.
Peaceful's just said, "Are we going to reset this?" I think we will. I think we'll reset it. It's only a 10-minute quali.
I just realized I've built walls a mile high to protect my heart, but now I'm all alone, stuck on the inside. The heart doesn't need a castle, it needs a bridge. Been too scared that I'd unravel. Brick by brick, I built these walls. Now I know that I am strong. Just watch me tear them down. for trusting lies. I know I can't hide, 'cause then I'd be alone, stuck on the inside. The heart doesn't need a castle, it needs a bridge. Been too scared that I'd unravel. Brick by brick, I built these walls. Now I know that I'm enough. Just watch me tear them down. I'm gonna tear them down. If it couldn't break your heart, is it really love? If it can't tear you apart, is it really love? Just watch me march towards the battle. I'm gonna tear down this castle. I'm gonna tear down this castle.
I'm gonna tear down this castle.
Watch me march. If it couldn't break your heart, is it really love? If it can't tear you apart, is it really love? If it couldn't break your heart, is it really love? If it can't tear you apart, is it really love?
Play a song. I'ma turn it up and then I'm gonna take it down. I'ma turn it up and then I'm gonna take it down. I'ma turn it up and then I'm gonna take it down. Play a song. I'ma turn it up and then I'm gonna take it down. I'ma turn it up and then I'm gonna take it down. I'ma turn it up and then I'm gonna 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 turn it up and then I'ma turn it up and then I'm gonna take it down. Give it to me like I'ma turn it up and then I'm gonna take it down. I'ma turn it up and then I'm gonna take it down. I'ma turn it up and then I'm gonna take it down. I'ma turn it up and then I'm gonna take it down.
You know, is all amateur stuff, and I'll stop talking now because we're in qualifying.
Yeah, we're
I'll let go on with it.
We're gonna go live in a second. Welcome back then to Project Cars 2. Apologies about the delay. We are live back 10-minute qualifying to commence now then, in the right conditions, hopefully. If we go on board, in fact, you don't need to even go on board, Gary. Look at the state of the grass. It's not as green as it was a moment ago, and you see Gary's Porsche just get a bit loose coming out of turn one. You see the trees in the distance, not looking as... That Porsche does not look as stable. Yeah, that's the winter conditions we want. So we've got a 10-minute qualifying now. Apologies about the delay. Project cars being project cars, and isn't it great to see all these silly bits happening when you don't want them to?
Wow, Gary's parked it up already. He obviously feels that it's way too slippery out there, doesn't he? So that's a good start, isn't it? Yes, as you say, it's more like winter now. So that's more like what should be happening, or what did happen this afternoon in Germany. This is the kind of weather conditions in real time, as it were. It
really is, which is really good to see. And I've just dropped something off the windowsill.
It sounds horrendous, whatever just happened in your commentary box there, Matt, because obviously me and Matt are social distanced by about 300 miles, so we're very, very social distance for this session.
We're a social distance. I tell you what is so brilliant. I was listening to the cricket. It's my big cricket fan, and I had Radio 5 Live on the PC. They're doing this Zoom call, video call over the internet, all from their homes, commentating at different locations for the radio, for the cricket. So they're basically sat watching the cricket on telly in Sri Lanka, and they're commentating from their homes or wherever they was, social distance. So we're here, you're obviously down in Cornwall, I'm in Mansfield in Nottinghamshire. We're very social distance from our home, looking at our monitors. The cricket was doing the exact same thing for the England-Sri Lanka test match this morning, and I thought, absolutely brilliant. That's exactly how me and Kelly, me and Andy, whoever commentates, is doing it at the moment. Absolutely. Taking a leaf out of our book.
Yes, indeed. And it's, the power of our modern world, isn't it? Imagine, the things that we've gone through in the last year or so as a whole world has been horrendous, absolutely horrendous. And but thank God for the internet. Do you know what I mean?
Thank God for the internet, yeah, indeed.
Yeah, imagine where we would be if there was, no internet, and we are, lucky enough to be able to do things like this from the comfort of our own home,
And this is why we do this thing as well, not just us at Simplay, at Motive, and all the other leagues that are out there who run events like this for you guys and stream it live for you guys while we're in this current situation, another lockdown 3.0. Hope everybody's doing safe and as well, by the way. Just put that one out there. But this is why we do this for you guys. We do this for you guys not just for our entertainment and our pleasure. Yeah, that's one of it. But we also do it to keep you guys entertained. Because what else would you be doing on a Thursday night while you're stuck in lockdown?
Watching Coronation Street. Imagine it. How grim. Honestly. Coronation Street, it's so boring. I'd rather drive a Honda.
Oh, really? Oh, there we go.
No,
there we go.
I don't know about that. I'd rather walk. I think, but to be fair, but there you go. Somebody might see me if I drive a Honda. So that's the first Honda reference of the second session. So there'll be plenty more to come, which I feel is going to be an ongoing banter between,
this will be an ongoing thing between every time we step in the commentary box. This is going to be an ongoing battle, a rivalry of the season to come. Dan Davis, my engineer's sick of seeing me in the pits. His arm is getting tired from emo guy. Mine looks bored. Come on, Fury. F you racing. Whoop whoop. Is this still quali? Is this quali still? Yes, it is Delta. Dan Davis, if you don't know Dan Davis, aka Unorthodox, he's a Tier 2 runner-up in the Clio Cup competition. Dan, I know you're listening, love you, buddy.
We haven't done that one yet either. If anybody doesn't know, me and Daniel are related. He's my son, and I was sticking up for him the other night, but now I've just jumped on with Matt and Andy, and I'll just go with the Tier 2 runner-up thing, isn't it?
Yep. He did win the LMP2s. He's the champion of the LMP2s. But we don't really count that one here. We only take about that? We only take second division runners up. That's all you need. LMP2, they're not even running it anymore.
Exactly. No, but they didn't build those cars anymore. Who cares? LMP2. Much more kudos in a Renault Clio.
Yeah, Mickey Mouse competition, those LMP2s. Absolute joke of a car. You'd rather be in a Honda.
Yeah. I'd rather be... No, I bloody wouldn't. Dan, Tier 2 Clio Cup champion over on Motive
Champion.
Racing.
Whoa, champion. Whoa, whoa,
Oh,
whoa,
sorry,
whoa, whoa. Runner up. Runner up.
Runner up. That's it. Sorry, getting above my station there for a little bit. So yeah, but at the moment we've been chit chatting already. We're already over halfway through this session. Only 4 minutes to go. We're watching Gary. He seems to have got the hang of this portion now. Got those tyres warmed up, maybe, because his first half lap was a bit like Tokyo Drift, really, more than a qualifying lap. But he seems to be putting it all together now. He's quickest man on track with a 1:56.6.
Really is 6 tenths quicker than Fury, 7 tenths quicker than D-Biggs, and 8 tenths quicker than Keegs. Delta B2Z, thanks, thank you. Love watching this. Who needs the F1? Exactly, because in the Formula 1, it's 2 cars that run away with it. One driver that beats the other driver every week, because the other one's not as good as a certain somebody. Whereas in this, anybody can win this, unless you're the 15 drivers apart from G. G's our only winner, but anybody can win it. Gary is our current champion, so that's a bonus, and we're seeing Gary on screen at the moment. Sooty, Apex and AH not yet put a time in. I tell you who's benefited from this. G would have started 16th in the last one before the summer conditions was found out. He now will start P13 when AH does his lap time, so a good stuff from him. Sooty's gone P8 at the moment, can't get out to that 2-minute mark. And I tell you what, AH needs to get a wiggle on to get a time in here. There's Keegs, currently 8th, and top 4 separated by 8 tenths is Peaceful, who's got rid of his grid penalty from the summer conditions, gets rid of his grid penalty. 12 thousandths of a second off the back of Gary 131. Impressive time there in that Mercedes-Benz.
Indeed it was. So close, just a little bit off that pole. Remind me, Matt, what was the first session times? Our first qualifying. Where were we? Do you remember?
Let me take a look, because I know that our social media person would have took a screenshot of that one and put it on on the Facebook page for the viewers who check the Facebook page. It will be on there. Well, my laptop.
I thought you had it written down on your Ted.
No, I've only been doing the. I'm doing the notebook after. We'll have to try and get one of them out there somewhere.
Oh yeah, I'd be up for that.
First race, he's not actually. I don't think he's done. Here we go. The qualifying was the only G.
Yep.
On
with a what?
A 155.5 was the only G. So Gary nowhere near that pace at the moment. In fact, none of them are. What was Andy's time? Andy was a 155.6. Gary did a 156.6. So he's actually 5 thousandths quicker in this session than what he was in Q1 in the first qualifying session of the night. So he's not actually much quicker in this session than the second one. One man that is a lot quicker is Peaceful Explosion. Obviously the bottom 7 can't qualify. AH really needs to get a time in here. He's got 1:34, still hasn't got a lap in yet, and will currently start 13th on the grid,
which is not good when he's got when he can be at least 8th. Even if he goes around in a 3-minute, he can still be 8th on the grid. So I don't know what's going on with AH. He's
coming to the back end of his lap now.
Yeah, let's see what he does with this then. Let's see if I don't know if it's been a quick one or if this is an out lap for him. When he comes across the line, we'll see.
Oh, there he goes. Good.
Fourth.
Pops up into P4, 6 tenths off the back of Gary 131, who you see in the background just coming around to complete another lap. Does he improve this time? 50 seconds left on the board. He does improve. 56.2, so he's 4 tenths up over Peaceful Explosion. That is an impressive lap to go from 12 thousandths of a second to 4 tenths. JR Sim Racing, Andy for the win, and Little Each all about the GT5 and the GT3 and the GT5. Hey Dan. Obviously, Little Each running in the GT5 series tomorrow night, in which he had a great battle. Tomorrow night over at Motive, in which he had a great battle with Unorthodox last week. So he'll be running in that one again. I'll be in that one as well tomorrow night. AH back in the pit. You saw he was off there at the side of the road. He's back in the pit, so he's done. Everybody else are either going to start one final lap. Oh, there goes Gary's last lap. That's Gary done. Into the pits he goes. So Peaceful Explosions, his nearest challenger. Where is he? Just coming down towards the back section of the track. This will be his last lap.
And he's
wide. Very wide. That is one of the Acoras. That's Welshie or Deeks just in front of him.
He's backed out of it.
Yeah.
Peaceful Explosives backed out of it.
AH has come back out the pits, yet there's no time for another lap. Fury's going to cross the line here and finish. No improvement from Fury then, so he's done. AH has just come out the pits, not quite sure why. He's not going to get a time in. Keegs down in 6th. He's down at the hairpin. Deeks is pitted as well. We've got D-Biggs 5th. I wonder where D-Biggs is on circuit. I wonder if we can get to see D-Biggs on track. That's D-Biggs. Sooty Apex has just done, down in P8, not the qualifying he'd have wanted at all. He goes back to the pits. Oh, D-Biggs, we just jump on him, and he's all in the gravel. Where's Welshie as well? So D-Biggs, Welshie, and Keegs on a lap. Not sure where Welshie is on circuit. Currently P9, half a second behind Sooty. If he can get that half a second, he'll move up to P8. But D-Biggs coming through the final chicane now.
I wouldn't have thought it would be quicker when we went on board with him. He was so far out into the gravel, he needed a Land Rover. But we'll see where this takes him. There, understeer's way past the apex on that one. What does this do for his lap time?
Nothing.
Nothing at all.
D-Biggs goes back into the pits then. So it's just Welshie and Keegs, we do believe. AH, yeah, he's backed out as well, so he's going to go into the pits. So just Keegs and Welshie now then. Fury's done. Keegs is going to cross the line here. No improvement for him, and I didn't see Welshie, so Welshie must have already crossed the line then. But it's going to be Gary 131 who takes pole position for race 2. There he is, so I can mark that one down. So pole position for Gary 131 in this qualifying. From Peaceful Explosion, Fury 3rd. Good qualifying for him. The 2 Shake and Bake Porsches in 4th and 5th. Keegs 6th, Deeks 7th. Sooty 8th. Not the qualifying he'd have wanted there at all. Welshie 9th. Emo Guy will start 10th. Phil 11th on Orthodubs 12th with G 13th. Andy 14th. Little Each 15th and Big Boy Brazier P16. So what can them guys do from there? As we await the drivers, Gary needs to make sure he's loaded the right setup, I suppose, for this one. That was his downfall in race 1. He needs to make sure it's not his downfall for race 2, especially considering he starts on pole position.
Yes, indeed. He needs to keep it all together this time, Gary. I know it's easier said than done. It's going to be an interesting race. Again, ones to watch is those guys that are all were in the top 7 in the first race. They're all going to be coming through the pack. So should be some action up and down the field, hopefully.
They really should. Guys, 21 people watching. Only 15 likes on the channel. Let's get this video as many likes as there is viewers watching now. So 21 likes by the end of this race. It is race 2, the final race of the night. Join us next Wednesday live. Snetterton 300 will be the second circuit for the Pro-Am, 8 p.m. on Wednesday night, and for the Pro, 8 p.m. Thursday night. Again next week. Should be fascinating races there. What can this Porsche do? So we've got a Porsche, Mercedes, Ferrari, Porsche in the top 4. What can Gary do? We're just waiting for these drivers to make the last little tweaks.
Yeah, they're all just getting their cup of teas next to their the tables next to their sim rigs and getting themselves comfortable, I suppose.
I think so.
I've just had a lovely cup of tea. It was really quite nice.
I've got a glass of Dr Pepper just next to it. Sipping away at that.
Pepper. I've drunk Dr Pepper since I was about 12.
Yeah, I am 12, so.
Oh, well, that explains it then, Matt.
No, I'm not 12 really.
That explains why you like Hondas.
Brilliant. Love that one.
Yeah.
28.
Happy meals all round.
Yeah, happy meals all round indeed. The Hondas, they're the ones that you wind up and go, isn't it?
Yeah, that's the one. Yeah. Put batteries in that VTEC or ZTEC. Well, I don't even know what they call it. But anyway,
the lights are on for race 2. And we're green here at the Nurburing for race 2, round 2 of the season. Look at the start that Fury's got, trying to split Peaceful and Gary already. In fact, he's got alongside Peaceful. Can he get alongside Gary as they head down towards turn 1? G didn't look like he got a great start in the background. Peaceful's going to look up the inside. We saw Gary race 1 go around the outside of G. Is he going to do it to G's teammate? I don't think he has, you know. Oh, carnage in the background! Sooty Apex, one of the guys involved. And I think G was also mixed up in that. Unorthodox, D-Biggs, Big Boy Brazier, yeah. G caught up in the melee in the background, and Peaceful's been round. I just noticed as the camera changed, Peaceful round, Keegs up to P2, really hot on Gary's heels. Where is Fury? Fury must have lost it with Peaceful as well, because Fury's down to 15th. So Gary gets the start he needs. Big melee at the beginning, at the first corner. That's created a bit of a gap between some of the pack. And as they all come down towards the hairpin now, Gary leads from Keegs, AH, Deeks, Emo Guy, Welshie, Little Leach, Phil, Andy, Sooty, D Biggs, Unorthodox, Big Boy Brazier, G's 14th, Peaceful 15th, and Fury down in 16th place.
Yeah, that was a great half lap opener. There was some carnage at the back. We didn't see everything. We didn't see what everything that happened, but these top three have gapped just a little bit now from the rest of the pack. Gary making a cracking start, went round the outside on turn one. Like he did in the first race, and made it all stick and keeping his first place right now. Who else is where? Big Boy Brazier all over the back of Unorthodox. The only G right behind him as well. These lot are all in very close contact. They're all having a sniff, think they want a podium on this one. So this is going to be good racing from these three.
I wonder what's happened to Sooty Apex. He's dropped down to P16, I've just noticed. So not the first lap he'd have wanted neither. What has happened to him? Hopefully he can get it sorted going into the second half of this race. Still a long way to go though. We're just finishing the end of lap 1 of 16 as D-Biggs is going to look up the inside of Welshie. Keegs is already in the pits. I wonder why. That is an interesting one for me. So Keegs already pitting at the end of lap 1 here. Now has he got a drive through? That's the only thing I could think of here. Let's keep an eye on if he pulls into a pit box. It doesn't, to me, look like he's going to it. I think Keegs has got a drive-through penalty. Yes, yeah. Keegs has jumped the start somewhere then and got a drive-through penalty though. So no wonder he was on the back of Gary. I can't remember where he qualified, but a drive-through penalty for Keegs. Andy will have to pit again. What a poor start to the end of his night so far. But at the minute, Gary leads from A8 to 2 Porsches. So far out front, even though they're not teammates, can they work together to pull away from Deeks, who is up into third in the Acura, in the Pro Group. So the Acura going great guns at the moment.
Yes, indeed. Who would have known?
Any nice words to say about the Acura in third?
I like the yellow bits. I don't know much about an Acura. I don't know a lot about them, to be fair. It wouldn't have been my first choice on the grid, but yeah, it's all right.
To be fair, it's the car I race, and it was in the Pro Group last year. The 2 drivers in it didn't make it look the best. Hopefully the 2 drivers this year in the Pro Group can make it look quite good. So far so good at the beginning of race 2 though, as it's P3 at the minute. Where is
Does it drive all right?
I like it. It's quite stable.
Yeah.
Quite. It's better on the higher downforce tracks than what it is on the quicker tracks. It's not got the best top speed, but when you're at a circuit like Nurburing, which is quite a high downforce circuit, it goes well. It runs well. It's quick. I'm as quick as Gary in it. So yeah, in testing, I've been as quick as Gary. Not on G's pace, but on Gary's kind of pace. So I'll take that in the Acura. I enjoy it. I think the car's a lovely little car to drive. Nice and stable, but on the quicker circuits, it will struggle.
I haven't driven it. I've done as probably a lot of us who've played project cars have done. It seems to be on the lobbies, on the general lobbies for all the normal Muppets, that everyone plays GT3 like all the time. Seems to be GT3 and it seems to be Monza. Seems to be the choice of people. Yeah, you see, I wouldn't pick the Acura around there. No, I wouldn't pick either. To be fair, I'm not a big fan of these cars, although they're beautiful cars. It's not my cup of tea. I prefer something that's a bit more regular, like hot hatches and
who was that?
Stuff you see.
That was one of the Ferraris. There was a Ferrari sideways there. I can't see who's dropped down the order. Well, it was either Dan or...
Was I on board with Dan? Yeah.
I think it was Dan. Look, Dan looks like he's recovering.
Seems to be going backwards a little bit. Yeah,
it looks like he's recovering there. So I saw him sideways as we was flicking through the cameras there, Kelly. Sorry to interrupt you. But Unorthodox having a bit of a half spin. Didn't see if he went fully round. He was a half spin there when we saw. And he's lost a few places with that one. Sooty's back up to 12. So he's got by head of Welshie, Keegs, D-Biggs, Fury. And he's on the back of Unorthodox early doors. Andy up into P8. There is Sooty Apex. Will we see the Sooty send it from him in this one? We'll have to wait and see as the race goes on. His teammates had a good start though. He's up into P4. Oh, what has happened to Deeks? We've been on about the Acura doing so well, and I think Deeks is just recovering as well at the moment. Yes, he is. Must have had a moment because the Acura It's a bit slow, this. It looks like he's rejoining the track. I wonder if he went off at the Schumacher S's, and he's had unorthodox again. It is. Unorthodox has had another moment and can't get the Ferrari in the right direction so far. Tier 2 driving for you, I suppose, at the end of the day. That's the
driving it like a Clio.
Yeah, driving it like a runner-up indeed, but... oh, he couldn't get it pointing in the right direction. He's now got kegs all over the back of him, and not the first 4 laps Dan would have wanted in this one from the back of the grid. He's really got work to do here. Andy trying to gain on the back of Big Boy Brazier and his teammate Emo Guy. Good showing from the Lamborghini cars. 6 Lamborghini cars on the Pro Grid this season, the most on the Pro Grid this year by one manufacturer. Only the 2 Mercedes and 4 Porsches.
Again, the Lamborghini isn't a car I would choose. I only ever tend to see them in rap videos. So, yeah, as a car, I don't know what they're really like. So, yeah.
Now, Kelly, do you see that?
What was that? What was that?
I believe we've got a bit of snow falling here at Nurburing.
Snow?
Snow at the Nurburing.
Who would have believed it in the middle of winter in January in Germany? Who would have believed it?
So, the forecast, snow... Oh, there goes Phil!
Oh, was that?
Phil's had an off. Fury's been at the
proper off.
Yeah, he's had a big off there. Fury's obviously at the right part of the track at the right time. He's able to pit, possibly for the wet tyre, you'd imagine. But the snow is falling. It's not all around us, it's all around the drivers on the track in Germany here. Oh, who's that in the push? That's AH. AH has had a big off there and is really struggling to get this car back on the circuit at the moment. He gets it back on now, but he's gone from 2nd to 9th. Not the start he'd have wanted here. So the guy's really finding these... Look, it's only just started. It doesn't look that wet on the track. Not much spray from the cars.
No.
But we've seen 2 big offs.
Yes, we have indeed. I'm trying to. Yeah, we go. Going on board. The snow doesn't look that bad, but as the conditions change, as Andy goes really wide. You
he's on the grass here.
Andy.
No, you don't want to go there.
That's the one. The black stuff is where you want to be, my friend.
Between the 2 lines, buddy.
I don't know a lot about it, but I know that.
Yeah.
And right up behind him. Look, here comes G. Right up behind Andy. This is so close. He can almost put his hand in and pull a piston out from that thing as Andy...
Yeah, it looks like he dived into the box here, and he does so. So Andy into the pits at the end of lap 4 for him as well. So him and Fury, the only 2 that have stopped so far. Andy's on a charge, look like the snow is throwing drivers off, says JR Sim Racing. It really has thrown a few drivers off. Andy went to bit... Emo Guy's deep there as well. Look, Phil pitting. Phil's pit stop could be a long one with the damage he's got.
You can see the snow. Look at it. You can see that snow right now coming down on the picture that we've got now. I can't remember ever watching a motor race in real time in the snow, unless it's in Finland and you're rallying.
I tell you what, and this is God's honest, I was at Donington 3 or 4 years back. Me and my good friend Mazda, who leading the Pro-Am Championship, we were sat there on the Saturday for qualifying, so we went for the weekend, and it snowed just before the touring cars qualifying. I think the Clios was on track for their qualifying, and it snowed. And he was stood there in shorts and flip-flops. And it came from out of nowhere. Didn't forecast snow, it just snowed, and we was like, oh, okay, brilliant. I think Peaceful Explosion had a bit of a spin there. There was a white Mercedes off to the inside. G is up to 5th place at the moment. Gary, though, has an 11-second lead over his brother already in this race. And I said Phil's pit stop may take him a while. He's still in the pits at the moment. That damage is really going to hurt his pit stop in this second race. So far, he was on the podium race 1. But race 2, it's really going to be a lot of hard work for him to get back up to speed with the guys in front. But with the snow, a long way to go in this race.
Certainly indeed. It's going to be a treacherous next 11 laps for these guys in the snow. I tell you, one person who has raced in the sleet is unorthodox. Daniel's... we attended a BMX race where it sleeted enough to stick all over the track, which was interesting on a BMX bike, as you can imagine. Luckily, it wasn't me that was riding; it was him. So so that was good. But yeah, the snow's falling here in, as I said, in Germany in January. Who would have known that?
Yeah, but, in the Eiffel Mountains as well, I do believe Nurburing.
Yeah,
so you know, at an altitude, who'd have thought it would have snowed at an altitude? You know, but. We're not weathermen, I suppose, at the end of the day. We're just 2 commentators sat here commentating for your enjoyment. Little Each pits from second, Peaceful and Welshie also in the pits at the end of lap 5. So early stops. I'm surprised Gary gave Little Each the call over himself. That one surprises me a little bit here, because I would have thought he'd have wanted... I just thought Gary, being the lead car on track, would have wanted the early pit stop. I suppose if he's feeling fine on the circuit and Little Each isn't, then stick with it, Gary.
Is he still comfortable on those tyres? That's the thing.
That's the question, isn't it? If he's felt comfortable, he's obviously said to his brother and teammate, get yourself in the pits, but I'm fine at the moment. He has said... He did say he wanted rain for this race because he loves the Porsche in greasy conditions. Maybe it suits the way he drives this car. Down to a T at the moment. D-Biggs and Welsh are still in the pits. You see Phil's out the pits, but 1 minute 55 off the leader. And a good 33 seconds off the back of Fury. Long way to go still, though, in this one. We'll have to see what happens. 22 people watching, 17 likes, guys. Hit that thumbs up button for more action as well. There will be a hot lap video of Snetterton released on Monday. That one will be taken through by none other than Jamie Brazier, hopefully, so stay tuned for that. Welshie still in the pits as Fury has passed him. Can he get out? AH we saw have a moment earlier. Gary's in the pits now, actually, as we speak that. He's recovered. He's back up to P6. Not yet been in the pits, though, so... damage limitation, I think, for him at the moment. Trying to go longer than anybody else before they all sort of come in at the same time.
Yeah, probably doing something different, or trying to do something different and take a chance on how things...
The top 4 pitting. Look at that.
All top 4. All coming into the pits at the same time. So it's going to be a bit of a pit stop race for the Project Cars mechanics, who have actually got dressed for this one in proper proper overalls. Probably too cold for them, so they decided to put some better overalls on than the ones we had in race 1.
AH is pitted now, actually. Oh, and Orthodox, the top
now.
6. Sutty's taken the lead, then 7 cars have now pitted because Keegs is in the pits. So they have all literally dived in at the same time here. Keegs has pitted, yet Big Boy Brazier's in the pits. That one isn't going to end very well and could lead to another drive-through penalty for Keegs. Gary's out. Deeks is back up to 3rd. Oh dear, Keegs. Where's Keegs? I can't see him. Has he got to his pit box? Is Jamie gone? I can't see Jamie gone. Yeah, Jamie's out. Is Keegs in the pit box? So that's the question, because I know it forces you to do a drive-through penalty. Look at how slow he's going. Yeah, he's had to do another drive-through.
Yeah.
Unless he has stopped, I'm not sure, but yeah, I think Keegs may have to pit again here. Oh, crazy.
If he's still out on slicks, he's going to be in real trouble.
Yeah, he really is. Crazy stuff for Keegs at the moment. You see the spray now from the cars. Sutty leads this race by 16 seconds. Gary's got a 4-second gap to Deeks. Deeks up to 3rd place. Deeks actually hasn't pitted yet, neither has Sutty Apex. We believe Keegs has got to pit as well. They're the only 3 who have left to pit. Big Boy Brazier jumped Little Each in the pits. Little Each pitted the lap earlier and came out behind Jamie Brazier then, but ahead of Emo Guy and G down in 7th place, but 2 cars in front still to pit. Keegs P11. Hopefully he can get something at this.
Looks like G's lining up Emo Guy's
easy
to the inside. Emo Guy's gone wide, Ian's gone wide.
Yeah.
At the hairpin, so G's comfortably through. And now looking at the back of Little Leach.
It really was. That move he made on Emo Guy there was very easy, as Emo Guy went very deep into the hairpin corner. But now, on the back of the Porsche, what can G do from here? Sutty is in the pits at the end of lap 7. So Sutty pulling the trigger. It's obviously going to be a tyre change for the Lamborghini, so that's going to take a bit of time. I don't think he'll come out ahead of Gary, but can he feed himself back into the Brazier Little Each G battle? That will be the question. The pit lane here is ridiculously long. Like I say, in race 1, you put the limiter on mid-corner at the last corner, and you seem to take forever before you actually see any garages appear.
Yes, indeed. It's certainly a very long pit lane, this one, and it's costing them time all the way down through. But it's going to be the same for everyone, because they've got to change onto those what tyres? Wets, I presume.
I'd imagine so.
Because I doubt they've got any spikes to go on them.
I don't think it's snowing hard enough for it to really sort of settle on the track, is it? Gary leads. Big Boy Brazier takes 2nd. Little Each into 3rd. 4th now as G's gone up the inside of Little Each. Emo Guy's up to 5th ahead of Sutty. Sutty is out the pits. Oh, G went very deep at turn 1.
He did.
Can Little Each get the job done?
A little bit. Yeah, no, G's going to hold that. He's got the line there. He did go deep into turn 1, but not enough for Little Leach to capitalise and come back at him.
Indeed, it wasn't. Now, question. Keegs has pitted. We know he'd done a drive-through last lap. Dan's back in the pit. Dan pitted last lap. Oh, Sutty's round at turn 1. Has that... now, this is what I was about to say. Did Unorthodox change tyres in the pits? Has Sutty changed tyres in the pits? That is a relatively unfamiliar spin for such a man on the pad, as what you can see. He's on the pad. He's on slick tyres. He's got to pit again, surely. Grip. Now, look at that, how it's gone wrong for Sutty today. And Run Flat Racing have had a nightmare. Sutty Apex P8 at the moment, but we'll have to pit again. There is Peaceful Explosion, you can hear. You see the Michelin's on that car. So Unorthodox, has he had to change tyres again? He's jumped Keegs in the pits. Deeks is down to 13th. How it's gone wrong for the Run Flat Racing boys at this moment.
Yeah, look, I don't know if Dan's on wets or not. I think he could be, the way that's... yeah,
that looks,
to tell, isn't it?
That looks like it's gripping all right. Keegs definitely is. You can hear him on the power. Yeah, I think Dan's on the wets. I think Keegs with on the power there would have drove around Dan.
Yeah.
I don't know,
yes,
actually.
for sure.
Yeah, no, he is. You'll tell you,
the
power's down, yeah, he's kept it in a straight line. That's where Sutty lost it last time round. So we'll see what the Ferrari can do in wet... Oh, is he?
Keegs has gone round him, but... yeah, it's hard to tell if Dan's... Oh, he might be on Inters. That'd be crazy as well, wouldn't it? Keegs almost loses it.
Keegs has really pulled a gap out over Unorthodox there. We're on board with D Biggs, who's just ahead of Peaceful Explosion. So D Biggs has had a moment somewhere because Peaceful Explosion was catching Sutty Apex. Sutty's now in front of D Biggs, but may have to pit again. I wonder then, Sutty seems to have got around the rest of this time without Peaceful catching him too quickly. Was it a case of the tyres needed warming up? I mean, surely they'd have came out the blankets nice and roasty toasty, but that doesn't seem to be the case. Gary has a 12-second lead over Big Boy Brazy. We're halfway through the race. Sutty hasn't pitted.
Yeah. Look at where G is. The Wonder Boy is up into third.
P3, 15 seconds off the lead. That's going to be a big ask at to catch Gary. I don't think that one's doable for him. But Sutty didn't pit there, so was it just cold tyres coming out of the pits? Maybe that was the case with Unorthodox as well. Just a bit of cold tyres. Couldn't get around the corners as quick as he'd have liked. Sutty is still going in this one, so maybe not as bad as we first thought.
Maybe he had a bit of a half spin. You know what these cars are like when you do get the tyres cold. Takes a few corners to get them back up to temperature a little bit, and you can be struggling for a couple of corners once you've had a spin. So did he have half a spin? Maybe. Lost temp in the tyres. Possible, I suppose. We'll possibly find out later on. Curbs are lethal, it says from JR Sim Racing on the comments. I've been following the comments as much as I should.
Yeah, curbs. We've not really seen the drivers touching the curbs, much have we, to be fair?
No.
The drivers have really stayed off him. D Biggs looks like he's just got past Sutty just below Peaceful Explosion into the hairpin. Unorthodox has got back ahead of Keegs here. He's 3 seconds up the road from Keegs, but he just looked like he was... I don't know. He just looked like he was struggling through that bit there.
It looks treacherous, and to be fair, Matt, it's snowing. So we're saying it's treacherous. It's about as treacherous as it gets, isn't it?
Us Brits ain't that good at driving in the snow, are we? We're not used to it.
Well, as we had a chat off air, we're in Cornwall, mate, and it doesn't snow in Cornwall. Never snows down here. It's a sunshine state. I'm surprised that Daniel's got any clue what he's doing in that car, because he's never driven in snow.
Probably sat there questioning what this white stuff is falling out of the sky.
Yeah, he doesn't know what it is. He doesn't know what it is. Poor Cornish boy's confused about it.
Fury back in the pits one more time. That's not what he wanted. He pitted lap 4. He's in the pits again, so that could confirm his last place in this race. Not what he wants. Kieran's asking if Sutty maybe burned up his rears coming out the pits. I don't know. I think that I'm hard to believe.
Not as quick as that,
what has happened to Big Boy Brazier? Because he's fell back to Little Leach, and G's now up into second, but yet G still 15 seconds behind Gary. He was 4 seconds behind Jamie Brazier. I reckon Big Boy Brazier's lost it somewhere. Little Leach trying to fight him then to get on the podium that he kind of threw away in race 1. Wants it back for race 2 to get Leach Motorsport back up there. As I look at the current tables at the moment, Leach Motorsport, I mean, they scored good points, 17 points. But they obviously want to close that gap to Forever Forward Racing, who scored 29, and Iron Brewer, he scored 28, so you really want to close that gap early doors. Obviously, no point looking at the tables at the moment, it doesn't really matter, but points mean prizes at the end of the day, and the more points you score early on, the better. So these boys will really want to get a move on, and I'm sure the earlier podiums that these boys can get, the better it will be for them.
Absolutely. So with that in mind, G's now sitting in second place, 15 seconds off the lead with 6 laps to go. As you said, Matt, that's a big ask, but it's consistency, isn't it? It's all a bit Colin Turkington, isn't it? Or Fernando Alonso. You've got to be consistent, and a whole championship. If you're looking for a championship win, it isn't about winning every race. It's about being consistent, isn't it?
And this is it. There's 22 rounds this season, not just the 20 from last year. There's 22 rounds, 2 extra races this year. So it's not about, no one's going to win the championship tonight. It won't shock anybody that nobody's dropped out. Oh, that's a back marker there of one of the Acoras in the gravel. That's Deeks or Welshie. No one's going to be out of the championship running, even if they've not raced one, like D-Biggs and Welshie missed the first race. They're not even out of the championship yet. Long way to go. Still another 20 races left. But you're right, consistency is the key. Like Matt Neal.
Who? Matt who?
Matt Neal.
The man who pushes people out of the way. Yeah, anyway.
No, that's Jason Plato.
Well, let's not get on to Jason Plato. There's another subject, isn't there? And certainly the rivalry between those two has been good over the years. But
it has.
We digress. We digress to touring car again, Matt, don't we?
I know.
This is going to be
our
ongoing.
go-to thing, doesn't it?
It is. Yes, indeed. And I was going to make a point, but I can't think for the life of me what it was. I think I was going to use another Brundleism about you can't win in the first corner, but you can lose the race, or
you can't win the race in turn 1, but you can lose it in turn 1, sort of thing.
Well, something like that. Like that. Yeah.
And I think that was pretty much what we saw with Gary in race 1. He kind of lost the race when he had that spin and fell back to P3. That's where the race kind of all right, he had his problems in the pits, but it could have been a bit better for him had he not had that moment where he span it. We heard he'd loaded the wrong setup and the radiator was, cooking, and half the damage was done to that. So he had to sit there and repair it in the pits. But it was one of them where, if the spin hadn't have happened, could have finished a bit better than 10th to keep that consistency going.
Yeah, I've just noticed that Big Boy Brazier is back on the back of the only G, back within a second-ish of him. So I don't know if G's had a scruffy lap, or Jamie's had a really good one.
Well, looking at the last laps, Jamie was 5 seconds slower, but that might explain how G got past. Looking at this lap, Jamie's right back on him, so that must kind of indicate that G's had a bit of a scruffy lap, unless Jamie has just nailed everything.
We'll see on the lap time.
He's dropped Little Each, though, hasn't he? He's got ahead of Little Each and pulled a gap. G does a 2:06.7, and Jamie a 2:06.3, so just better lap. Just a better lap for Jamie.
Yeah.
But obviously clearly suits the Lamborghini, must suit these snowy conditions a bit better than the Mercedes. Either that or Jamie's driving style. I know Jamie's a pad user as well. Must suit the way he might like the snow, being from around Snetterton, Norfolk area.
Yeah.
I don't know how much snow there you get, but there we go.
No, more than we do down here. So yeah. I was going to pick somebody to go on board with and run a lap. What do we think's the biggest handful? What car's the biggest handful on the track?
Last year in the wet, it would have been.
Merc?
Well, last year in the wet, I'd have easily have said to you, pick the BMW, but there's none of them this year.
Right. Well, there you go.
Let's go on one of the Mercedes. Let's go on Peaceful Explosion in his Mercedes, because I think G may be a bit planted. Let's jump on Peaceful P9, as he's just about to start a lap, actually, so good time to pick him up.
Yes, indeed. And twiddle the right fingers and press the right buttons, which I'm not, and we'll get
into turn 1. Nicely done. Now they don't get much in the southeast, says Neil in the comments, so not much snow down there. It looks quite tidy actually. That Mercedes actually looks not too bad, to be fair. Emo guy in the Lamborghini down in P5 at the moment, currently running well. Back to Peaceful P9.
Yeah, that was what I wanted.
We go.
I don't know why I lost that, but there you go. Now let's have a look at this track. It's looking properly wet there, isn't it?
Really wet.
Certainly turning this snow to slush. It's not sticking, is it? And there'll be no snowmen this afternoon. I don't think.
There's no snow sticking even to the grass on the outside of the track. Not really many puddles forming. It's just kind of greasy with the looks of that circuit.
Yeah. It does look it, doesn't it?
It looks very greasy, and I think this is where Gary really thrives in these kind of conditions. And he's got the lead to not even thrive in them, to just take his time in them. He's kind of catching a little bit, but not enough to win this
Gary
race.
Just keep it cool.
But Peaceful looks very planted here in the Mercedes. Not many puddles we're seeing on the apex of the corners and stuff, or on the outside, middle of the track, nothing. There's normally a big puddle on this right-hander coming down the back straight, and it forms just on the apex of the corner. I remember last season you couldn't touch that apex because of the puddle would just send you around into the gravel, but nothing. It's just greasy, isn't it? It's just wet. There's no puddles. It's not wet enough for puddles to start forming. It's just greasy, and I think this will suit these Mercedes and Porsche drivers to a T, because Peaceful, bar missing his apex there, has got that lap pretty much nailed.
You look pretty good, doesn't it? Let's we move to Keegs, because he's all over the back of Dan on Orthodubs as they come into the chicane. What's Keegs driving? I can't remember. Lamborghini. So Lamborghini versus Ferrari here as we go round the last corner. Daniel again not bothering the apex too much, although he tucks it in right at the end. As you accelerate out of that last corner, you can get a little bit squirrely out of that one when you put the power on. Daniel trying to break the slipstream as Keegs tries to stay in it. Daniel hits the brakes. 75 metres, 100 metres maybe. He's gone way past the apex.
He's really missed his braking point there.
Yeah, completely. He's in another country. So Keegs has got right past. Oh, look, they're side by side as we go on board with Dan. Back end of the Lamborghini is what he's looking at. I can just hear Daniel now in his cockpit being vocal.
Yeah.
As he missed his apex, because he does hate to miss apexes.
Oh, Big Boy Brazy's past G. G's got Little Each hassling him. I'm just looking at the times here. G must have made a mistake somewhere, because he's dropped a long way back. Sorry about that, Kelly. I know we were watching Dan take on Keegs, but G must have had a spin or something, because he is really on the defensive against Little Each at the moment.
Yes, indeed. Unfortunately, for those of you watching who don't...
he's gone deep.
He's gone deep again as well. Little Each didn't do much better, to be fair. For those of you who don't understand how these things work, we can only see what's happening in front of us. So although we have the power to change from view and from driver to driver, we do only have the ability to watch what's in front of us. So when something else is happening on track or someone has a spin, we haven't got multiple cameras like an obvious like a Formula One World Stream or touring car or any other kind of
we're
televised motorsport.
We're literally going off the timing screens, aren't we? And the two cars you're watching, or one car you're watching at the time.
Yes, this is it. We can tell who's close to each other. And again, for example, Dan's coming back at Keegs a little bit, and we know that AH is close to Andy.
Yeah.
That's about all we know. So if you are new to this kind of thing and you're just watching for the first time, as I said, apologies that we can only do the production as best we can.
Indeed we can. AH has lost it coming through.
Absolutely.
That's turn 5. He's just lost the rear of that Porsche.
Recovered quickly, actually.
He has. He's recovered well. I said the Porsche likes the greasy conditions. Oh, that's one of the Acoras who's just sort of copied. That was Deeks or Welsh who's just kind of copied them. They look at unorthodox on the back of Keegs. Really good, but this has been a battle since these two have came out of the pits as well. They've came out of the pits and been battling ever since then. Keegs looks like he's got the better in a straight line, but through the corners, unorthodox really looks like he capitalises and closes that gap. Look at that Lamborghini indeed. Just pull away there in the straight.
Yeah.
Gone.
Yeah, it's got some power for sure. As I said before, I think that Ferrari's a bit of an all-rounder.
Oh!
Keegs got it sideways, so Daniel's up beside him.
Dan's done the job. Keegs is going to have to back at that into the Schumacher S's. Yeah, he does. You just see him lift off massively there. So Dan gets the job done around the outside.
Yeah, Keegs' line was all over the place. He had to back out of it. He wasn't going through that as he should. He's now got to regroup.
Oh, now Dan's gone deep.
Wide, and Dan's gone really wide. So is Keegs going to get past him?
Oh,
yeah.
They've touched! They've touched! And I think Dan being a gentleman is going to let
gentleman
Keegs...
racer, he felt like it was his fault.
Yeah.
Losing a lot of time here, though.
They are. Where's Sooty coming round? Tell you what, you'll see Sooty in the background of your screen in a moment. Oh, Dan! Oh, no!
Tyres are now cold.
Oh, no!
Oh, it's all turning Pete Tong now.
He's been such a gentleman, letting Keegs try and catch up. And in doing so, the heat has just gone from his tyres. Emo Guy's in the pits, not quite sure what that is about. Gary's coming up to lap Dan. Oh, Emo Guy's got damage. You see, no spoiler on the back of that Lamborghini. Now there magically is, because Project Cars works like that. But
the virtual world.
Yeah, if that's damage to be repaired, Unorthodox may get one place back in over Emo Guy. But yeah, in being a gentleman and letting Keegs through, he lost all temperature in his tyres and just lost it with the minute he turned right.
Yes, indeed. Daniel obviously thought that he felt that he needed to give that place back and stop for him to give it back. As we see Sooty going all kinds of sideways and glitching out a little bit and bouncing around and doing things that cars can't actually do.
I tell you something, Kelly. This is really going to annoy Sooty, this is. He does not like it when me and Gary lap him. This will really frustrate Sooty, the fact that Gary's on his tail to lap him, as Gary's on the last lap of this race. It will really frustrate him, because he knows he can race with Gary and be competitive with Gary, as he was all last season, and that will frustrate him, the fact that he's had to let Gary through. Gary Gary's
flashing his lights from Gary. Yeah, thank you. Move out of the way.
Yeah. I tell you what, though, take nothing away from Gary's race 2 drive here. Oh, has Sooty just binned it? Sooty's lost it. Sooty's binned it. Dan's got back through. Yeah, there's Sooty rejoining. Not the race he'd have wanted in this second. Emo Guy's down to 14th. What a long pit stop.
Wow, yes indeed. It's hard to keep the concentration in these kind of conditions. A couple of laps is all right, but when it gets to, we've been snowing for nearly 10 laps now, is it?
Yeah,
Isn't that long? 8 or 10, something like that. It's hard to keep that concentration lap after lap and try to go forward. Try to keep pushing bit by bit and just going a little bit faster each time.
Well, let's stay with this man then, as he's coming down towards the back straight now. That is, I believe, Fury. Yeah, that's Fury, because Unorthodox has already been lapped by Gary. He's on his final lap. Oh, there's a bit of a puddle there. You don't want to be doing that on the last lap, Gary. Just bring her home. Oh, that got a bit exciting for a moment. That did, I tell you. Gary, though, he's going to
chicanes either, to be fair.
No, it wasn't. Gary's going to come home, though. The back markers are letting him through, and Gary's going to come home here to take his first win of the season. The defending champion is going to finish P1 in race 2, and what a drive it's been for him in this race. The tricky snowy conditions suit him down to the ground. Emo Guy will finish a lap down in the pits. Big Boy Brazier, though, what a day for him. Already a second place, and he's got another second place to his name. The defending Pro-Am champion is P2 at the moment, and who's that? There's been a bit of an incident over the line. That's Welshie and Phil with the looks of things. Phil looks like he was letting Welshie have it. G, cracking drive for him, is going to come across for a P3 to go with his first place. There then, Little Each in the background will take 4th. So a 4th and a 5th for him. Good start to his campaign. Andy's going to come across the line what looks to be P5. Can't see him being challenged by D Biggs in the background. Gaps for 3.7 seconds. Actually, if he doesn't get part of his circuit right, he could easily
be in trouble. Yeah, it's not over yet.
Now, long way to go still, and the tricky conditions.
It's not quite over yet, but the fact
although
woman
I think
is
D Biggs has
up.
spun, because that time's going up and up and up between D Biggs. He's had a
that looks expensive.
That's a mess in that Porsche. The Porsche factory team going to have to get a job done there. So it looks like Andy's going to take P5 here. He's through the chicane. He's got one corner to go.
Yeah, it's done and dusted.
Andy then P5 in this one to match his 6th in the first race. D Biggs missed race 1, but he'll cross the line for P6 there then. So not a bad start to his campaign. AH might be kicking himself, but P7, not bad points after that one. Peaceful Explosion's going to come across the line in 8th. Although, where is Peaceful? He's got 40 seconds to Keegs. I think Keegs has actually been lapped and has finished behind the leader.
Yes, indeed. As we just hear that, the lovely sound of that Merc as it comes around, and Peaceful Explosion just finishes off into 8th place. Flash the lights. Thank you very much.
No flash of the lights. Keegs has finished P9. There is someone out there that hasn't finished yet. Unorthodox will get 10th. He was a lap down. Sooty 11th. Welshie will get 12th in his first race of the season in the Pro Group, matching his teammate in race 1. Phil will come across the line 13th place then. And then we've got Deeks P14 to go with his P12, so not the best of starts for him. Emo Guy will get 15th after he was a lap down in the pits. That is all then for race 1. Who got the fastest lap to add the extra bonus point? The only G took the fastest lap just before it snowed. That would have been an interesting one. So then, G, 2 fastest laps, a first and a third. Gary a first, a 10th, but Big Boy Brazier 2 second places, really stamping his authority on this season after being promoted last year. Early doors, actually is 2 points off the title at the moment, off the championship.
Have you done the maths already then, Matt? Have you?
Give us a
quick.
Hold on the spreadsheet. Let me just put them. Let me just sort it out so they're in the right order. 2 seconds.
Yeah.
As you see the bottom half of the grid there on your screens now.
Yes,
so
indeed.
In terms of the championship, G ends the day 42 points for him. The 2 bonus points have really helped him out. He's 2 points ahead of Big Boy Brazier. Gary currently sits 3rd on 31, with Lidleach 4th on 24. Andy is then in 5th place on 21 points. Unorthodox sits P6 so far on 19. Then you've got Phil 7th place on 18 points with AH on 16. Keegs is on 15 points. Peaceful Explosion on 11, Sooty Apex on 10, Emo Guy 10, D-Biggs on 10, with Deeks on 6, Welshie 4, and Fury only on 2 points. The Constructors table, Leach Motorsport and Iron Brew Racing A-Team both tied on 55 points so far, with Forever Forward Racing of G and Peaceful in P3. Class of 97, the team of Emo Guy and Andy, 4th on 31 points. Run Flat Racing of Sooty and Phil, 5th on 28. Shake and Bake Motorsport, D-Biggs and AH on 26 points, with FU Racing on 21 and DW Racing in the Acora on 10. That is your lot.
Yep.
Kelly, any final words from yourself?
Again, thoroughly enjoyed it. Thank you everyone who's watching. Do all the liking stuff and the following, the Facebook, the Instagram. If you're not part of it, then go and be part of it. It's we love having you here. We love putting on a show for you. It went really quickly. Really enjoyed that. I had nothing like enough time to rip into how rubbish Hondas are, and how Matt Neal is just the luckiest man on the planet to have won so many times being so rubbish. I had no time for any of that because we were too busy watching, enjoying great racing. Matt, thank you very much. You put on a great show here at Simplay. Yes, thank you. All good.
Pleasure having you, Kelly. Hopefully we can get you in the commentary box for next Thursday night as well.
Anytime.
From all of us here at Simplay Motorsport, thanks for tuning in. Get them likes in. We need 21 people watching at the moment. Only 18 likes. Get them last likes in before the end of the stream. That's all we've got time for, though. Thanks for being a part of the journey here at Simplay Motorsport. We'll see you next week live 8 p.m. Wednesday night for the Pro-Am at Snetterton 300. Will there be any more snow around? Let's wait and see. And Thursday night as well for the Pro. Same time, same channel. You know where to find us. But from all of us here at Simplay, take care, keep safe in these tricky times, and we'll see you next week. Goodbye.
Thank you. Take care. Bye-bye.
say I I'm just calling to say I